All right, we're live. Tap and Birdie, the Players Championship in all caps. We got Pat Mayo on tonight. It's going to be a great show. Pat, pleasure to have you on. Glad you could join me tonight. Excellent event we have at hand. So this should be a great show.
I mean, that's lofty expectations. I don't know about a great show. Good show. How about we just try for good show? And then maybe we can overshoot. We can overshoot our skis on that.
Under promise and over deliver. That's a thing I heard in college one time.
You went to college?
I did. It was a fun 4 years, honestly. I enjoyed it.
I would imagine. You seem like a fun guy. I get that from you. That's a vibe you give off.
No, I would say that's a good vibe. Like I'll take that vibe. Like that's a good one. Like versus like a creepy vibe or like an annoying vibe. Like that's good. I'll take that.
No, I'm with you. And congrats on doing it in 4 years. It took me 6 years to get my undergrad because I was having a bit too much fun.
Yeah, I've been there. I know a lot of people that have been there, but 6 years of college like sounds great. Like that quote from Tommy Boy. Do you reference that one a lot? Like where he's like, yeah, people take 6 years to complete college. They're called doctors. That's a good one.
It's not as bad in Canada. It's not as cost prohibitive up here.
Okay. All right. So like overall with the season, do you think that the Players has kind of lost its like shine and edge just a little bit because it seems as though like all of the other events that have been elevated, designated, whatever you want to call them, have had a similar vibe? Like the field is basically exactly the same as we saw at Waste and Genesis and Bay Hill. And, you know, the purse is only $5 million higher. So do you think this new season has hurt the Players in any way, shape, or form? Do you get that feeling?
I do. And I think logically it makes sense with the way that you laid it out. I enjoy your inflection on Bay Hill. I think I might have to repurpose that for my show for the coming years. Just I'm going to jot that down and, 51 weeks from now, I'm going to break out the Bay Hill and people will be like, why the fuck is he talking like that? That seems really crazy. But yeah, I'm with you. This was positioned as the fifth major for so long, and which is impossible because there's 4 majors. So it was pretty ridiculous. I hated that campaign, but you did get to see it was the strongest field of the year. And that did mean something. And it's probably still the strongest, but it's not by much over anything else. Like it's not substantially better than what we saw last week at a course. I mean, I guess Sawgrass is fun. It's kind of an amusement park course is the way that I would describe it, that things can go so badly, so quickly and anyone in the field is probably live for this. So I do think it's lost a lot of its luster. Now, it probably still is the 5th most important tournament throughout the course of the year, if we don't count like Ryder Cup or something like that, but it's closer to those other ones than it is to the majors right now. And that's fine and everything. I'm still going to enjoy it. It's still a big event, but the majors have the live guys in it. It's live versus PGA in the majors. Like that just is not only if you didn't have the live guys, which we weren't going to have anyway, and you didn't have these elevated fields, the Players would still feel a little bit lesser than, obviously above what the elevated events would be because they wouldn't exist, but way behind the majors because of the fields that you're going to get at the 4 majors this year. But now it just feels like, yes, it's another week, but yes, it is important. It's still the 2nd or the 5th most important one, but 5th is closer to 11th than 4th now.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I'm very excited for this event. And I think the course is a big differentiator. And that's a real reason why this event will never really like lose its shine fully, because it's such an interesting course and it's such a fun course and it's such a unique course. And a lot of casual fans know this closing stretch where they don't know the closing stretch at Bay Hill or Genesis. So I do think this event will garner a lot of attention, obviously, and it looks like the PGA numbers like in viewership have gone up from the elevated event, so I think that's all good.
Hold on, you say that. I was looking at that today, and yeah, ratings are up for golf. That is true, but do you know what the highest rated Sunday has been so far this season? Which tournament?
It's got to be the Genesis.
Pebble Beach.
How is that?
I don't know. I have no explanation.
See, that is the disconnect of our little bubble versus like the entire world that watches golf. Like that is just so different. And but didn't it end on a Monday?
It did.
Like, did they even play golf on Sunday at Pebble?
They did not. They did not play on Sunday. Or they
That's
did play on
that's
Sunday. It just didn't finish on Sunday. Rose won on Monday.
Yeah, yeah, that was a tough one to see pan out. But it looks like Pebble will be designated next year, which I think will be really great. And I do think that, the whole no cut stuff, we don't have to get into all that, but I do think the fact that they are making an effort to kind of move around the designated events like will be really great next year, because all of the events that they've had designated this year have also been very important events that people care about. But when you go to maybe elevating Pebble and some other events, like I think it'll be interesting to see how it is at Heritage, because again, Heritage is an event that is super prominent and a lot of people play. But this year, I think that will be the biggest barometer of how these elevated designated events worked out. So Bay Hill last week, Bay Hill, gotta emphasize that. Um, Really upsetting Thursday. I know we both had some first rounders in the mix, and Rom just absolutely killed us. Did it make it hurt more that he didn't do anything the rest of the week? Because it definitely did for me, because I was like, okay, Rom just going to run away with this thing. Whatever. Had a bunch of guys like around the first round leader, and he just did the most miraculous things ever. And I know you had Kurt. It made it worse that he did dick the rest of the week, right?
For sure, because I went and looked at the real race for the Mayo Cup, and when Rom was winning, I was actually in first place.
Yeah, yeah. So it was just a double whammy for you.
Yeah, they took all my money from Kurt Kitayama, who had a chance to both tie Rom and beat Rom coming down the stretch. He missed like two very easy, not easy birdie putts, very makeable birdie putts. I think it was on 7 and 9 or wherever the hell he ended up. Oh, yeah, he played the back 9 seconds, or the front 9 second. So it was 7 and 9. He had the birdie putts, or 6 and 8. Then he finally bogeyed 9, but he had his opportunities. But Rom was just unconscious at the end of the first round. And it did feel like, I was even joking, like, okay, this is over again. Although I do think, and I don't know how I'm going to attack this in the betting market. I probably won't, but at least in the DraftKings streets, feel like Rom's kind of being overlooked a bit.
No, definitely. I agree. I do think that last week just left kind of a sour taste in people's mouth. And the fact that he looked human, I think changes things a little bit. I'm kind of floating a theory about Rom. Like, I think he's kind of like a Birdie Fest guy. Like, you look at the events he's won. This is like half a joke. But like, you look at the events he's won, and they're literally the lowest scoring events of the year. Wins Kapalua, wins the Amex, like Genesis, like kind of whatever. But the two times he looked most human was at Torrey and Bay Hill. So that's just a theory I'm floating. We're just kind of putting it out there, getting some feelers going on it. Like, it's half a joke, but yeah, I think Rom's just a Birdie Fest guy now. He's not.
I can see that. Yeah, he struggles at Torrey Pines, where he's won there and won a U.S. Open there. That tracks.
Yeah, no. So that's just kind of what I'm moving around. But classic last week golf betting, this very well. A very popular long shot that people love to bet every single week and always gets people's money. When he does break through, it seems as though no one is on him. Do you have any FOMO with Kurt last week?
No, I mean, I should, because I did the research show last week and I highlighted Kurt Kitayama, and then just came time to make bets, I just completely forgot about him. So that sucks. And listen, I didn't think he was going to win. Did you think he was going to win?
Like pre-tournament or like during it?
Both.
No, I did not think he was going to win. I did think on Sunday, like, he definitely like had a shot. But like coming down the stretch, like, it was just really, really great to see. But again, when we get so caught up in like these trends and like what's happened in the past, and like being a first timer at a track, like, it usually just doesn't pan out that way. But all it took was, and I was beside myself when he 3-putted on
16.
Like, I was just like, wait, what? Like, how do you 3-putt that? Like, that was really tough to see, because he had the tournament in his hands. But to step up on 17 in that moment, and get down in 2 and put it close, and like, that was the closest approach I saw all day, and then make the putt where everyone was missing. Like, that was just awesome to see. The caddy interaction on 18 was awesome to see. Like, leaving the putt like to a tap in, which is great. Like, I think the PGA Tour really needed it. It gets really boring when the top guys win every single week. It's a great story. I like looking during it, I was like, oh, like I think the popular thing that people are saying was like, oh, Kurt wouldn't have been in the field like with
Well,
this new
he in
system.
fairness, he would have been in the field.
Yeah, no, I thought he was like, if you had to ask me during the tournament what was Kurt Kitayama's world rank, I would have said like 65. I had no clue he was 45 in the world.
Yeah,
Like
neither did I. I found that out after the fact when I went and looked at it. It was Harris English who wouldn't have been in the field, weirdly enough. But these are the guys that need to be in the field to make these tournaments compelling. And you're right. Him winning, I think, makes the elevated events a bit more fun because now it's like, oh, when the Nick Taylors of the world or the Keith Mitchells and now Kitayama, when they're in the mix, obviously the better guys are going to win most of the time. But we need to be able to see one of these guys win once or twice a year against these very top end players for the drama's sake. Like, oh, it's not just like, oh, there's that guy. He's not going to win. So let's just focus on the other guys. But I don't know. Here's the mid-level guy, the long shot guy who's walking in, going toe to toe with all the best players in the world. And he fucking beats them. I love it.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great to see. I really enjoyed it. It was probably the most enjoyable golf I watched all year. And I've made the point before, like kind of at waist, like really two guys could have won, and it was definitely going to be Scheffler. Like, I think that's what is so great about difficult conditions is that it seems like on Sunday on the back eye, just so many more guys have a chance to win. And that is the best viewing. So Rory to say that like he didn't think that was compelling, and that he wants that like people want to see birdies on Sunday like that. I don't know how you could be that tone deaf and so out of touch with reality, but you know, that's all good with Rory. But it was a great Sunday. I'm hoping that the players, there are a lot of guys that can win on the back nine of Sunday. I'm assuming that will be the case. And the PGA Tour can't control the golf. And when they get a good result like that on Sunday, like I think it's a huge win. And Kurt Kitayama is now top 20 in the world, which kind of just came up out of nowhere.
It does seem like you can jump from like the mid tier in the rankings up very highly now. Like who was it who won the week before? Chris Kirk. Chris Kirk's like 14th in the world or something.
Yeah, no, it is definitely, people are moving up pretty quick. But let's get into the players. Let's talk about the event at hand this week. TPC Sawgrass, obviously a very famous course. People say a volatile course, but something you pointed out in your DraftKings article, which I really enjoyed, is that I don't know why, but the highest owned guys just don't do well here. And they don't seem to play well. Not that they know they're high owned, but this is definitely a place where chalk like kind of goes to die and doesn't really do well. And if you look at the top 10 scorers from the last 2 years, the highest owned guy was JT at 17%, and everyone else was super low owned. So do you think that you have to factor that into obviously your DraftKings play, but also like into your outright bets? Because it seems like super popular players like Jason Day, like Keegan Bradley, this week, like I feel worse about them, even though there is no correlation between their ownership and how they do. But it just seems to be the case that the popular great plays that seem like it beginning of the week don't pan out.
I'm with you, and I don't know if I believe in that or not. We're looking at a 2-year sample, and last year was just a complete shit show when it came to the waves and the weather and delaying 30 hours before guys get to go play again. And then certain guys got released into gale force winds, and the other guys got to play in fantastic conditions. So it could be a product of that. It could be a product of just variance, to be perfectly honest with you. And like, even when you look back through time at this tournament, the switch from May to March made a big difference when you go and take a look at all of the numbers and the results, and guys that used to play well when it was in May started to not play well as much when it was in March. So, and just with so much water, there's water in play on 17 of the holes. Like we all had Paul Casey one year. I forget what year it was. And he went, I think he took a 9 on 17. It was like, oh, great. Perfect. It just shit like that happens at this tournament. And you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm looking at the guys you're talking about. Day, Keegan, JT, Homa, Connors, Scheffler, Cantlay is another one. I thought Ricky would be way more popular. Like last week when I looked at the pricing, I was like, oh, shit, Ricky's going to be the most popular guy. It doesn't seem to be the case, does it?
Yeah, I think that, you know, a lot of people were on him last week for whatever reason. I was one of those. He was at a very attractive number. The approach numbers have been really good. And I just think he is so frustrating to track. And I think that probably left a pretty sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, even though he did cash a top 40 if you had that bet, which I think was a pretty popular one. But yeah, it makes me a little bit worried. But again, it is a pretty small sample. Are you into the trends this week? Because there is a lot of evidence pointing to like two things. So stat from Golf Ramble on Twitter, go give him a follow. 19 consecutive Players winners with the previous top 5 at the Players and 24 straight coming off the back of a made cut. Would you not bet someone because they don't fit either of those? Or it is, again, that is just random and you shouldn't put it into your strategy this week?
Well, I think every guy I bet except for Siwoo doesn't fit that criteria. So
perfect.
Yeah. Well, I bet Tom Kim. He's never played here.
Yeah, no, Tom Kim definitely seems like a good fit. So when you it's really interesting to again, small sample size, but when you look at the the flyovers and you look at this course, you are just you have to be deadly accurate off the tee. It just seems like a place where if you are just extremely accurate off the tee, you could just play extremely well and dominate. And then you look at the last two winners, and they are legitimately the elite talent that people have least faith in being straight off the tee with JT and Cam Smith. And Cam Smith losing 5 strokes off the tee last
Hold on
year.
a second. Go back to your stat. What was the stat again? Guys who have had a previous top 5 at the Players, then what?
No. Top 25. So the past
25.
19,
okay, I'm gonna say that doesn't track for me.
Yeah, no. Last 19 winners have a top 25 at TPC Sawgrass.
Okay, so my Max Homa bet is live, is what you're saying.
Totally. Yes. But isn't that weird that the last two winners, when you just look at the course, the last two winners are Cam Smith and JT?
Not really, because I think it fits into what we're thinking about at this course. JT's not a bad driver; he's just erratic. But we've seen him post amazing driving weeks. It just his driver can flip the other way, which we've seen at this course too, when he blows up and it doesn't work out. And Cam Smith's kind of the same way. He just needs to keep his driver under control and let the rest of his game take over. We see that with Justin Thomas too. Those guys' bread and butter are, Cam Smith is kind of across the board pretty good, but he chips, he putts, and he gets very hot with his irons over time. Yeah. JT's usually super hot with his irons, probably a top 5 short game in the world, and then you have to catch him on one of those weeks where either the driver is really good or the putter is really good. And that happens a lot for him. Yeah. I think it's different when you're talking about the very top-end talent in the world and what they need to do. Yes, Justin Thomas is a shitty driver against Rory and Rahm, but against the rest of the PGA players, he's fucking amazing.
Yeah. No, that's totally a fair point. That makes sense. And I think the biggest connector between the last two winners is definitely just how good they are inside 150 yards. Those are the two guys. If you have to get up and down from 100 yards, I just think of those two guys. And obviously they both have really great short games. So do you think, I know you probably bet some longer shots. Do you think this March trend will continue of the winner being, a sub 30-1 guy this week? Or do you think we can get a long shot winner that we've seen at the Players, but that hasn't happened in the past 3 editions that took place in March?
I think so. I think that's most certainly on the table. Another connector between all these guys, great around the greens, despite the fact that that's not something that crops up when you go and look at the numbers. Siwoo is magic around the greens. So is Cam Smith. So is Justin Thomas. So is Rory. So is Webb Simpson.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And that's something I've definitely looked at. And my good friend Adam put out a stat, and he put up the prior best around the green and putting performance at TPC Sawgrass before they went, and they were all excellent. Everyone that has won here has shown an ability to chip and putt at this course in a prior event. And off the top of my head, I definitely have one that doesn't fit that, but it's okay. It's all good. So into kind of the guys this week, we obviously have the big 3 that we'll be seeing of Scheffler, Rahm, and Rory. Is there one you think, if you had to rank the 3, I've been doing this, of who will absolutely not win, who do you think of these 3 absolutely will not win this week if you had to go out on a limb and say someone is not going to lift the trophy?
Between those 3, probably Scheffler.
Yeah.
I I weirdly think Rom is going to win. I'm staring at a 12-1 at Rom right now. Like, people are not betting Rom at all.
No, it is. Yeah, that is definitely interesting. And I do think that is definitely something you can bet and do. And I think that, he's played fine here. He hasn't been like a Cantley or a Xander that has just not found success at this course. Like, he has some good finishes. He's definitely been in the mix on Sunday and has made some mistakes that, again, is very obvious and very easy to make here. But yeah,
hold on. Do you find it odd that I think almost everyone has referenced that like course history is kind of irrelevant here because we've seen guys with a bad course history win or coming off a miscut, whatever it might be, and just the poor track record. Then all of a sudden they get it together, and no one wants to bet Xander, but everyone seems to be betting Cantley.
I'm out on Cantley. I'm with you. The last 2 years, Cantley has been a very popular selection. Like, every year, it seems like, okay, like, this is Cantley's time to shine at the Players, and he doesn't do it. So I'm out on Cantley. I'm not betting Cantley. I want nothing to do with Cantley. I think it is just one of these places that he doesn't have exactly figured out. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but being in content and going on podcasts, last year's Players, you can just say everyone was in the bad wave. No one will know. So if someone misses the cut that you like last year, he was in the bad wave. If you like someone that played well last year, he was also in the bad wave and fought through that. Are you down with that strategy and talking about it that way? Because no one will know. Everyone was in the bad wave. It's just kind of an easy cop out.
I just remember Sam Burns wasn't in the bad wave. I just went back and watched the highlights for all 4 rounds. And I forgot Burns was winning for a lot of this tournament.
Yeah, that was tough. He definitely did not play well on Sunday. So you're out on Cantley at 16. I'm with you.
Yeah, well, I wrote it up. Like, at 16, he's now closer to Rahm, Rory, and Scheffler than he is Homa and Vic and Morikawa and Finau and Xander and all those guys. Like, he's with it. Like, he's a part of that group. Let's not kid ourselves here. He's not a part of the big three. Even if he wins this week, he's not a part of the big three. Like, be serious about this.
I agree. And I think that Cantley has just consistently again, I just think of Cantley now as a Northeast bent guy. Like, that's where he seems to win. That's where he seems to do his best work. So at 16-1, I'm totally out. In this 20 to 25 range, JT 20, Homa 22, Colin 25, Xander 25. Have you bet any of these guys? Have you taken any bets on these guys yet?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can probably guess the 2 that I have already bet on because they're the same 2 that I always bet on. But I got a 25 on Homa on Monday morning, and I got a 33 on Morikawa Monday morning. So those were the 2 that I made.
I bet Colin. I am not a Colin guy. You are a Colin guy. I got him at 28-1. Again, does not fit the played well here trend and does not fit the made cut, but that's okay. I'm fine with it. My opinion on Colin this week is at 28-1, at 33-1. I'm down to see if he can chip and putt. Like, I think it's worth the gamble. It's worth the risk at this number because I think this is always a spot where people have thought Colin should succeed because he's such a great ball striker. He's extremely accurate off the tee. He's great inside 175. And it just seems like a place he should play well. And I don't understand how him missing one cut at Bay Hill, which I don't think is an excellent course for him, should negate the fact that he already has 3 top 5s this season. Like,
when you bring up that you're going to bet Colin Morikawa, I'm seeing if you experience the same thing I do. People will go out of their way to tell you he sucks and can't win. Like, I don't know what reality they live in. And they're like, no, they're the idiots betting Patrick Cantlay. They're like, Patrick Cantlay, proven winner. Colin Morikawa, absolute loser. It's like, what have you watched the past 2 years?
Because I put it out. I said, what is the reason not to bet Colin Morikawa at 28-1 this week? And again, I'm not going to say everyone thinks this, but someone said I would rather bet Cam Young at 40. And I was like, okay, like, I just completely disagree with you. Like, I don't get that at all. But I think at 28-1, at 33-1, you agree. It's worth the gamble because we've already seen this year him be able to chip and putt for a majority of the tournament. It happened at Century, but it's not like he hasn't any chipped and putted well at Genesis. Like, this is a great course for him, and I do think he'll win here at some point in his career. And I just think it's a good number on a guy that had one bad start and has started the season really great.
Yeah, you're kind of catching on there. You're buying the dip on Colin Morikawa at this point. Maybe if he blows up this week, you get an even better number for the Masters. But in 5 starts, he has 3 top 6 finishes, but he sucks. That's how this works, apparently. Yeah, he missed 2 cuts in elevated field events. Whatever. Guys miss cuts. If they don't win, then I don't really give a shit what they do if I'm betting outrights.
I'm with you. I agree. So what kind of made you pull the trigger on Homa? I know you were on him at Torrey, obviously on him at Genesis. Are you just riding it out with this guy because he's given you that sweat on Sunday, and it's easy to go back to a guy that has made you money and has been in contention on Sunday?
Well, he feels weirdly mispriced. Not mispriced. He's probably fairly priced.
Yeah.
This week, whereas other people like, I mean, the more I shit on Cantlay, just the more strokes he's going to win by this week. That's how this works. But with Homa, like, I caught him at 25 early when Cantlay was at 20 and Justin Thomas was at 20. Like, what? And this, maybe I'll throw Cantlay out of the discussion. But what has Xander done this year to prove that he deserves to be the same number as Max Homa?
I don't think anything. And it's not like he has course history to kind of go back on, obviously, as a second place here, but he's missed the cut.
So
I agree. I agree. I'm with you.
And with Homa, I mean, he led all players in approach last week. He hit basically every fairway last week. Dude couldn't putt. It was his worst putting tournament in 18 months. That's not something I expect him to do. One thing that was nice about when he won at Torrey, and even when he was going well at Riviera, was I never back guys who putt, ever. Yeah. And he can putt. It's just really nice to be like, oh, he's standing over a 26-foot putt. He might make this. Or he's standing over a 3-foot putt. He's probably not going to miss this.
I'm with you. That was a very enjoyable Sunday when he won at Torrey, when someone actually steps up and makes a big putt. So I endorse the play. I think it's a good one. I think it's a good number, and it's not like you can't get him at 22-1 right now on DraftKings Sportsbook, the best place to bet. As always, so the day thing is kind of weird. Again, I bet him at 50-1. I got this number a while ago. I actually got it on Sunday night. Obviously, I'm a massive degenerate, and all I'm thinking about is like waking up on Monday morning and seeing odds. And he was 50-1 on Bet365, and I was like, that's not going to be there in the morning. He is the most popular selection this week on Twitter. Obviously has a bunch of top 10s in a row, and he's priced the same as Victor Hovland. Can you realistically seeing him like breaking through and have his first win in like 4 years at the Players, being the highest owned golfers, like being the highest owned golfer this week? Like, is it going to work like that? Like, I'm a little concerned.
I can see him winning. I'm not betting him, but especially now that he's 28-1. That seems crazy to me. But the play might be Jason Day 3-1 to miss the cut.
Yeah, I'm betting him 50-1. Like, I think it's a good number. I don't really endorse it at 28. Like, I really don't know, because of his top 10s, again, I'm shitting on my outright pick, but like of his top 10s this year, like he's never like truly really been in the mix on Sunday. Like, I bet him at API, like he was just kind of around all week and just like made a birdie here and there and didn't make a lot of bogeys, which I think would suit him better like last week than this week when he's going to have to pour it in. So again, I think it's a good play, if you got those futures on it, but it just seems like a big ask for him to win after not having won in 4 years. And again, trend wise, like there's just not a lot of 2-time winners here. Like, you just don't see it. And I think that's something to kind of like be aware of. But again, 29-1, it's tough to swallow right now. So what is your Tom Kim case? I know you've been on it for a while. What is the case for Tom Kim this week at TPC Sawgrass?
It's just this course seems to be what he does the best and where we've seen him succeed the most are at these style of courses. And it's nothing new to take a look at all the Pete Dye courses in the rotation, except for Travelers. It just TBC, I was going to say Highland Park, River Highlands.
Yeah.
Doesn't really seem to jibe with this one whatsoever. Like high-end guys can do well there, but you don't see the same crossover as you do with Heritage, mainly as the example. Like the Sony Open, you see a lot of similar guys do well. Wyndham just has a huge correlation between those ones. RSM is another one. Colonial is another one. Just these shorter courses where distance, it's not that driving doesn't matter, it's that distance doesn't matter as much as accuracy does. There's only so many courses where that can come true. And listen, if you get the ball 350 and straight at this course, you're going to eagle every single one of the par fives. That's going to be a huge advantage. But if you try to do that, you're probably going to be in the water half the time. Kim just overall is one of the few players like Morikawa in a weird way that can hit driver every time and basically hit every single fairway. That's fantastic. Two of the better iron players, Tom Kim included, on the tour. And his long irons are really good too. And I mean, it has not translated, as you mentioned, for Colin Morikawa yet. Maybe it won't for Tom Kim. But his approach play from beyond 200 yards, you get the long par 3, and you get the 4 par 5s where he can actually go at them with his distance. And it's not like he's Brennan Todd off the tee. He's not hitting at 260, but I do think that there's a distinct advantage at a course like Bay Hill or Torrey Pines, what have you, when Rahm can hit it 350 and hit the fairway, and then he has 8 iron coming in, and Tom Kim can put it out there 310, 320, but all of a sudden he has a 5 iron coming in. Like, that's a big difference on your approach shot. So it's not just the distance. It's not the distance that I care about at all. It's the type of club that you can choose on your approach shot to come in. And, you know, we've seen some, especially with the wind looking down this week, we've seen a lot of high ball flight guys do well here. So the smaller the club, the higher the ball flight typically. So that's something to look at as well. But with Tom Kim, he's going to keep it safe. At least I think so. He's very good around the greens. We've seen the irons go hot and cold, but generally they're very hot. It's all about the putting with him. Yeah. It's either -7 in 2 rounds or it's +12 over 4 rounds. We've seen it a bunch of times now. It's a yin and yang, but where does he constantly putt well? Where do those spikes week come? Fast Bermuda greens. What are we getting this week? I don't care that he hasn't seen the course. Everyone said the same thing about Morikawa at the Open. Well, no one's who ever played the Open Championship ever before has ever won. Well, he won. Why can't Tom Kim win?
I think it's a great case. I think it's a great course. I think he'll win a Players Championship. And I think, you know, something to look at is that no one thought Kurt could win like Bay Hill on his first time around. But guess what? He had a caddy that has won at that event, and that seriously helped him. So I do think the Ricky caddy angle also just helps Tom Kim's case. And I do think, again, it's a perfect course for him. And at 50-1, whatever you got him at, it's worth it to see if he can putt. So
the 50-1 is still there, by the way.
It's at, what did you get him at?
It's boosted at 365.
What did you get Tom Kim at?
I have him at 80, but I bet it again at 50.
That's it. That's an excellent number.
Yeah, but that's not available now. So I can't be out there being like, bet Tom Kim 80-1. Like, no, there's a 50. I'm staring at a 50 at Bet 365 right now. If you don't have Bet 365, I think he's down to 40
everywhere else. Yeah, he's 40
on DK,
else.
and you can boost him up another. You can boost him to like 42.5 if you want to, I think.
Yeah, that's plus EV in my book, honestly. Talking about guys that have severely dropped that I got a good number on, so I'm just going to do a quick victory lap. I bet Keegan a month ago at 90-1. So I'm feeling good about that. Like I'm very happy that I was able to get a 90-1 on Keegan. Not that long ago. Like it was not that long ago. But now like my casual friends are like texting me like, yeah, I really like Keegan this week. Like, I think Keegan's the play. I'm like, where did this happen? Like, you know, just holistically, Keegan makes too much sense this week. He has really great form. He's playing super well. He's played very well at the Players. And like
he feels like the prime, like what are his to miss the cut odds? Can we parlay Cantlay, Day, and Keegan together and see what we get?
That is a bet. I do think it's a bet. Another thing is that Keegan went on some PGA Tour radio show and they were like, oh, so like you're playing really good golf. Like, how does your game feel? He's like, I don't need to work on anything right now. He's like, usually you're going into a week and you're like, my 3-wood's a little off. Like my wedges are a little bit off. He's like, my game just feels really great right now. So you mix in the course history, you mix in the recent form. He's playing the best golf of his life. He's 50-1. Everyone's betting him. I'm a little worried. But at least I have, closing line value on it. And, I have a 90-1. So I feel good about it. But if I said this in a few group chats, if Keegan wins the Players, like, there's nothing easier. There will be nothing better. Like, everyone should just retire because it will be the greatest win ever if a community Keegan win happens at the Players this week.
Well, community Keegan or community day, I guess one of those two guys that I'm not on. I don't have the long number. I wouldn't bet Keegan at this number. I don't think Keegan's going to. Keegan doesn't win very much. Think about that.
No, he does not.
So,
but like maybe Japan changed him.
Yeah, Japan, he had the playoff win, like
against at the BMW.
Bryson. That was in like 2018 or something like that.
It was against Justin Rose, I think.
What?
When Keegan won in a playoff at the BMW against Justin Rose.
It wasn't in a playoff though. Didn't he beat everyone by like 4 strokes? Maybe I'm mixing up because Bryson won the BMW. Didn't Bryson win back-to-back in the playoffs? Didn't that happen? Now I got to look at it. It was 2018. Yeah, he did beat Justin Rose in a playoff. You're right. Man, what a course. What course was this?
I think it was Aronimec, yeah.
Yeah, Bradley, Rose, Billy Horschel, Xander, Rory, Webb. Okay.
Just an absolute elite leaderboard. No, he does not win a lot. But I was luckily on him at the Zozo, so I got money on Keegan. Like, it's all good. Like, I'm up on Keegan. Like, it would be hard for me to go down on Keegan. Always Keegan first-round leader. You always bet him first round later. He always pops in the first round. But yeah, I would love to see it happen. And I would love to see a community win on Keegan. And I would love to tout my 90-1 number.
Did you say it would be easy or it wouldn't be easy to go down on Keegan?
I would say it would be tough to go down on Keegan.
For you or for everyone?
For everyone, I would say. I think it would be a tough task, honestly. Okay.
Cantlay, Day, Keegan to miss the cut. $15 pays $5.61. I just bet it.
All right. I think that's plus EV given the last 2.
Can you give me an example of a minus EV bet?
I would say Cantlay at 18-1 is minus EV.
16
in my models.
16-1, sir.
At least. So did you bet Shane Lowry this week?
I haven't. I've been waiting for the number to drop. I see it's down to 50 at DraftKings. I'm going to give that some more time. My buddy Nathan Hubbard just keeps shitting on Shane Lowry. He's playing too much. Well, maybe he's warming up. I don't know. But dude crushes Pete Dye courses, man. And I know he can win.
I bet Shane Lowry at 60-1 enhanced on Bet Rivers. I'm gonna see if I have it still available because I would, if you want it, I can bet it for you, no problem.
I can enhance it up to 50 right now, but no one's betting him, are they?
I don't understand the number. Like, I don't understand why he's 60. He's 2 starts removed from leading the field in tee to green at the Honda. He's a major champion, and he actually has good course history at the Players. Like, I'm just confused as to why he's 60-1. I just think that number's off. So I'm going to bet it because I don't think there's many people in this range that check as many boxes as him. And I trust him on Sunday to get another PGA Tour win. It's been a very long time since he's obviously won on the PGA Tour. But I just think you mix in the recent form, played well at Genesis too, and he has good course history, and he's 60-1. Like, I just think that's a very easy bet for me to make this week. So I really like Shane Lowry, and I don't think there's any problem at all betting him at 50-1 this week. So I'm going to see it out with Lowry this week.
Yeah, this range has me confused because I bet Siwoo at 80 or 75 at the beginning of the week, and obviously I like Siwoo a lot. And that was kind of the end of it for me until I started betting like 200-1 guys, but that was more for top 8 purposes. As I broke down on my show today, that the outright bet with the top 8 is much more valuable than the top 10 bet on certain places if you can have each way betting.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I've always been kind of curious about this. Can you explain to me the Siwoo story? Can you explain to me like your love for Siwoo? Did you originally bet him at the Wyndham when he got his first win? And then what was the live betting story of Siwoo at the Players when he won? Like I want it all because I've been curious about it.
So I didn't bet him at the Wyndham. He was, I
Okay.
think he was a rookie that year. It was his second year. We were like in the office. There was S.J. Kim at the time. There was just a whole bunch of these new young Korean players coming up, and he'd be all over the place. He'd be like WD third. It was like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? He's all over the place. Then he wins 100-1 at the Wyndham, and then the Players Championship comes around, and our guy Adonis, add-on 7X on Twitter, is like big on Siwoo Kim. I'm like, all right, Siwoo Kim. And he's like, he's 750-1. I was like, oh, like that doesn't sound very good. Like this guy actually has a chance of winning. So I didn't really think too much about it. Like he was on the radar, used him on DraftKings. That was great. He won me a nice big weekend showdown or weekend back before showdown. It was just weekend golf on DraftKings. But I started looking at his numbers, his live numbers, and dude was crushing it. Ball striking and couldn't make a fucking putt to save his life. So at the halfway point, or it was either after the first round or it was the second round. Anyway, I grabbed him at like 200-1.
So he was still 200-1.
Well, he was Siwoo Kim.
Okay, so it would be the equivalent of like a just complete random guy like this week. Like he had absolutely no like name recognition, but he was still like playing fine. Like he was still like under par.
Yeah, and it was a very difficult year because he ended up winning by 3. I think he won at -10 over Poulter, who was at -7. Like it started to play really difficult on the weekend. So yeah, I think the leaders were at like -7. He was at -3 or something like that, and just no one knew who it'd be. I'm trying to think of a good equivalent to him. I think people know more now about golf than they did then, for one thing. Like people would be aware of who some of these guys are. It'd be like.
No, I have the
I have the guy for you, by the way, because he had won on tour before. It's not like he was a scrub.
Yes.
It'd be like if, because I think someone good was winning at the time. So it'd be like if we got into the weekend, and it may have been after the first round. Like I said, I could be off on that. I bet a lot of these tournaments, and usually I don't win, and those are the ones that I remember. But it'd be like if Justin Thomas was at 7 under, Cantlay was at 5 under, and then like T19, Lucas Herbert was -3, but was like -6 strokes putting.
Got it. Okay. So you hopped on 200-1 and you had an amazing weekend and you forever loved Siwoo.
Yeah.
So like, but do you think like those odds would happen today? Like, do you think so like it was very much so like early in the golf betting and like it just was a total misprice on a random local book?
It wasn't on a random local book.
Really?
No.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. No, someone asked me before, like we're talking in a group chat, like what would be the equivalent of Siwoo winning the Players this year? And I said Mackenzie Hughes because Mackenzie Hughes won earlier this year, but he's been in absolutely horrible form and he's like around the same odds. So
yeah, I would say, I mean, you use one Canadian. I could say Svensson would be like an equivalent.
Yes.
JJ Spawn would be another one.
JJ Spawn's a good one.
But here's the difference. Siwoo Kim has 4 PGA wins now.
Yes.
Like he's actually good.
Was that because like now Siwoo's obviously a very like popular golfer. Like when he won in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, like people were like, did people like genuinely not know who he was? Like, were people just like, who did this guy that just won the Players? Like, was it a big deal when he did win?
Not really.
Okay.
Like people remember, like people had, I didn't bet him at the Wyndham, but people had bet him at the Wyndham.
Okay.
So it wasn't like crazy that he won at the, I think it was 100-1 when he won at the Wyndham. So, but golf odds were different than they are now. Like when Hadwin won at Valspar, he was 100-1. And we all bet him that week in 2017, whatever it was. His number didn't change the entire week. If that was this year, with the stats that he had coming in, with the amount of golf betting coverage that there is now, he probably would have been like 45. Like what Keegan is right now is kind of the perfect example. Everyone knows that Keegan is lining up for a really good week. It doesn't mean he's going to have a good week, but 5 years ago, his odds would be like 100-1, regardless of how anything has come in. Now he's 40-1.
Yeah, because he was 100-1 a month ago. Like, it wasn't that long ago where that's where books were putting his odds at. So,
But look at the first round leader market. I went to go bet some first round leaders today, which I did, because I could. It's like crack. I couldn't help.
It's literally the best thing in the entire world.
But the guys that I'm betting at 100-1 were legitimately 200-1 3 years ago for first round leader.
Yeah. No. So do you have any first round leader bets that you put in? Who do you got? Because I've always said this, and people like scoff at first round leaders, like it's very volatile, like it's super unpredictable, it's a waste of money.
It's fucking gambling.
There is nothing better than Thursday. Like, you're at work, you hate your job, and you have a bunch of guys, and you're tracking every single shot, and every shot and putt means so much. And you could start the week up money. Like, there is nothing better than betting on first round leaders. It is the best way to spend $100 to $200 on a Thursday. Like, it's my favorite thing in the entire world.
It's a great way to spend $20. You just put $4 on all the, like, if you don't want to, like, you can spend $20 on anything. In Canada, that costs a pack of cigarettes is $20. So spend it on 5 first round leaders, pepper the board. Oh, yeah, how invested I was last Thursday watching every shot because I was sweating Kiyama.
It was amazing. It's so fun. It's like genuinely the best. But yeah, it's my favorite thing. So who are your first round leader guys this week?
Webb and Kirk.
Okay.
Kirk makes way too much sense for first round leaders. So
but those hit, I feel like.
Yeah. So he's 70-1. Webb is 80-1. Johnny Vegas is 100-1.
Yeah. That runner up here. Yeah.
Ben Griffin's 125. And I bet Russell Henley first round leader.
Love it.
I don't know what. No one is playing him on DraftKings. No one is betting him. He's still 80-1. This is his type of course. Historically, where he's played his best are these types of courses. But he's just been dog shit so far.
He has been bad since his win. No, I think Russell Henley is definitely someone that this is his type of course, a short Bermuda track. The course history is not there.
Burns?
Yeah, I'm just completely out. Like, I'm just like, I don't even think it's worth any money in any regard this week. Like, I don't think it's worth your money. But it is crazy to see him at 90-1. I bet longer shot. I bet Sahith Tagala. I got a 90-1 on a local. I think he's like 70-1. I still endorse that. He's been sneakily playing some really good golf this season. 4th at the Farmers, 6th at Genesis, 14th at API. Like, can get really hot with his approach. Already gained over 6 this year. Has been putting well. Doesn't have the course history, but at 90-1, I'm willing to take a shot on him. So I like Sahith. Did you bet anyone? I know you bet Siwoo as kind of a long shot. What other long shots did you bet outright this week for the players?
I bet Webb and I bet Ben Griffin.
Okay, so Webb just like one tournament, like he's back. Like,
it's 2 tournaments. He did the same thing at Honda, where he had 3 good rounds and like 1 really bad round. And I don't know, 200-1 seemed like a lot.
You got to bet him first round leader then, in my opinion.
I did bet him first round leader.
Okay, he's on the card. So on first round leaders, will you not go kind of below a certain number? Like, are you only looking for straight bombs?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think it's kind of tough. Like, I would say the lowest I would go would be like 40. Like, I'm fine betting a guy 40-1 first round leader, like Cam Young last week. Like, I think Cam Young's always a good first round leader play. Like, if you just bet Cam Young first round leader every single week, like, you would be up money. So I do think that on certain guys you can bet the 40-50, but for the most part, it's mostly just random people over like 80-1 that make no sense. But you just got to kind of be on him.
Yeah, or don't do it. Like, if you want to put, that's the thing that I don't understand about people when they get like really furious about gambling. It's like, you don't have to bet who I bet. You can bet who you bet.
Yeah.
Why can't you just leave it at that? I'm telling you what I'm doing. Be like, hey, that's stupid. You should do it this way. That's great, man. Do it that way.
And I think genuinely in the golf gambling community, like, I think everyone genuinely bets their own card. Like, I think casual people that like listen to a lot of different podcasts, like listen to a podcast and they hear someone say something good about someone. I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. I like that. I'm going to bet that. And then listen to another podcast and they think, okay, that makes sense to me. I like it. Like, no one is just straight up just tailing someone's exact betting outright card. Like, no matter who you are, you could be like, even like the most casual golf fan that I know that likes to bet on it. Like, they're still betting their guys. They're still betting who they like. So I just think that's kind of where it is in the space, is that people listen to a lot of content and they bet on golf every single week, and then they bet who they want, because at the end of the day, that's what you have to live with. And that's what makes you the most happy, is betting the guys that you want to and not having any regrets about just taking some random person's picks.
I just got a WhatsApp message. What does this say? Oh, excellent news. I'm going to Sonoma right after the Masters. So they booked us a private wine guy who can drive us around, so I don't have to drink and drive.
Is this a DK thing? Like, how did this come into fruition?
No, my wife and I are meeting up with our 2 other couple friends, and we're just flying into Napa for the weekend.
So what's the content schedule for RBC? Are you missing that? What's up with that?
No.
Okay.
My favorite tournament of the year? Absolutely not. So I'll finish up with the Masters. We'll do Masters recap. We'll do picks with Jeff. We'll do Tambo, DK, and then I'll bank 2 other shows for that week. I have a bunch of best ofs and evergreen content for the week after. Then I'm still gone the next week. I've very easily structured my show that I can do Heritage, and then I missed the Mexico Open in Zurich. For shame.
Yeah, that's a really easy one. You deserve a break, 100%. So, are you a red or a white guy? What
red.
type of red?
I drink white and I break out in like hives. It's weird.
Okay, so what type of red do you like? Like, what is your favorite type of red wine?
So that I can buy locally from the higher end. I do enjoy myself a California Cab Sav. If I can get my hands on like an aged Bordeaux, I would go for that. But that is harder to find around here, so I usually stick with a nice hefty Cab Sav.
So, with your, like, again, we're just doing a little deep dive on Pat's drinking habits. Like, do you enjoy like a glass of wine at the end of the night, or like, if you're like drinking to like get drunk, are you drinking wine?
The bottle gets open, it's fucking gone. All right.
Okay. So, like, if you're like, okay, I am drinking tonight, are you drinking wine, or are you getting like beer?
Ooh, it depends on what I'm doing. Generally, if I'm at home, like my wife and I like split a bottle of wine on a Saturday night or something if we're staying in, or if we go out and eat. It's usually wine now, unless I'm at a bar with my friends watching sports. Then we'll just crush beers the entire time.
Okay. But that your preferred drink of choice is a nice red wine.
It is, yes.
Amazing.
And it's funny because I used to drink the shittiest red wine. Yeah, but then I got a little bit richer and I started drinking the nicer red wine. Tried to go back, be like, I'm spending too much money on wine. Let me go backwards. Can't do it. It just tastes like sugar.
Yeah. So no, I'm looking forward to your trip for you, because I know you'll be having some excellent wine, and I'm hoping you're doing the swirls, you're sniffing the aromas, and you're really enjoying the wine.
I'm going to end up like Giamatti in Sideways, just taking the entire fucking bucket and dumping it on my head at some point.
Yeah, no, that would be great, and it will be nice to get out of the cold weather for you, up in Canada. So
yeah, well, I mean, you're in what, Jersey?
Long Island, New York.
All right, so yeah, you guys have probably had basically the same. You guys have probably had a colder winter than I have here.
Yeah, no. I went to school in Buffalo, so I understand that. Like,
I don't live anywhere near there.
No.
Buffalo's so cold, especially compared to Toronto. Buffalo is so cold.
You didn't let me finish. Whenever I said I went to school in Buffalo, people were like, "Oh my God, you must have like dealt with so much snow. It must have been so cold." Like, stereotype the whole area, and I just did that to you because you live in Canada. So I apologize. Like, I understand when you say you live in Canada or somewhere cold, people just like jump to conclusions. So that was my bad on that
one. Yeah, Halifax is like colder Seattle. Put it that way.
Okay, cool.
A lot of rain.
So can we talk football quick or no? Is that it?
Yeah, no. Let's go. I'm going to record a football show tomorrow night. So
do you think the Jets are getting Aaron Rodgers? Like, from the reports you've heard, like from the things that have happened today with Derek Carr obviously going to the Saints, like, the team was flying out. Like, do you think this is going to happen?
I think it's 50-50 that the Jets starting quarterback next year is Aaron Rodgers or Carson Wentz.
That you don't think there's any chance that Mike White would be the starting quarterback week 1?
No, they'll talk themselves. Like, if they don't get Rodgers, they'll be in a mad panic and be like, Carson Wentz, he's good. Let's start him. I mean, I just want that to happen so badly.
For content?
Yes.
Selfishly,
I need to watch Carson Wentz.
Okay. Because the Jets situation is really interesting. And my boss is literally a diehard Jet fan, and we talk about it all the time. And he wanted Carr. He's like, the Jets made the wrong move, like trying to go after the pretty girl at the end of the night at the bar, and they should have went with the one they were with. Because they probably could have gotten Carr. But it seems like things are heating up with the Jets Rodgers front. Do you think it would be good for the Jets? Do you think the Jets can win a playoff game if they get Aaron Rodgers? Because they do have a good defense.
Of course they can. They could have won a playoff game last year if they got in the playoffs.
Okay. All right. So you think that getting Aaron Rodgers would be good? Okay. It's pretty obvious. But like,
do I think that the Jets are better with Aaron Rodgers than Zach Wilson? Yes, I do. Hot takes.
And you think they could win a playoff game? Like, you think the team around him is good enough right now that they could like be a contender and win a playoff game this year if they get Rodgers?
Yeah, I think it depends on who they play in the playoffs. Obviously, I don't know if they'd be favored in that game, but there's a chance that they could win the AFC They could win the AFC East with Aaron Rodgers. Like, their defense is really good.
Yes, I agree. And they do have good receivers, and they have Breece Hall coming back. I don't know how it'll be after the ACL tear, but that is very. What does Cust want? Like,
Cust wants Rodgers. He gives them a 51% chance to win the Super Bowl if they get Aaron. Like, that's why I'm doing a football show tomorrow, because I really pray nothing has happened yet, because I need to get him to get his Aaron Rodgers takes all out into the ether for the moment that it gets ripped away. He doesn't go to the Jets, and then he'll say, never wanted Aaron Rodgers anyway. He's not actually any good. That kind of thing. It happens every time. He told us when Kirk Cousins didn't sign with the Jets and signed with the Vikings, how shitty Kirk Cousins went. He went from a top 5 quarterback, according to Cust, to one of the worst in the league, one of the worst signings of all time. Midway, not last season, the season before, he went on and said that Kirk Cousins was a much better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. Now, all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers, according to him, the second best quarterback in football behind Patrick Mahomes.
That I wouldn't expect anything less. How did Cuss become a Jet fan? Like, why is he a Jet fan?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
His dad's a Dolphins fan.
Okay, so it's completely random, because I'm around Jets fans like all the time, like living in New York. Yeah, but again, like the only team I really, really care about and like am upset when lose are the Islanders, like, and hockey. Like, my dad is a diehard Giant and Yankee fan. Like, I don't feel the same pain when they lose. Like, I root for them. I want them to win, but I'm not like a diehard fan. So it's hard for me to judge other fans that are like diehards, because I can't, I don't feel the same way. So I try and kind of be self-aware and not like, I like to laugh at Jet fans because they're just a miserable franchise. But I don't really have a leg to stand on because I'm not a diehard NFL fan of any particular team. So it's tough for me.
Did you bet the 2 jabronis in Kenya this week that we're all betting?
I really like Atugi. Ategi. He is my pick to win at 25 to 1.
Okay, so
I really like him.
Don't worry about Adrian Atagi. Here's who you need to bet. You need to bet Ngorje Ngonge Kabuki.
Okay.
Kabugu, the Kabugi man.
Okay.
He's 1,500 to 1. He is 600 to 1 to be first round leader.
Okay.
So that's free money right there. Easy win. But if that doesn't win, Tom Valiant is 250 to 1, 110 to 1 first round leader.
Love it. I'm on those plays. I'm also on Del Rey. I really like Del Rey. He plays well. He's a good talent, and he's like 150 to 1. I'm betting Del Rey every week. Do you have any guys at the top? Like, on Euro, do you just straight up tail Sky?
Yeah.
Like, I do the same thing with Euro.
Sky will DM me, Baroff will DM me, and Axis will DM me, and they're like, hey Mayo, I got some like absolute loser who's 1,000 to 1. You want to bet him? It's like, yeah, of course.
No, I really enjoy that. Like, I know we talked about no one tails any picks. Like, on Euro, my friend Adam is really good at it. He really deep dives it. And every single week, I just go on to my local book and I look at his card and I just bet it. And that's a good feeling. Like, I don't have to make any decisions. Like, someone's doing all the research for me. So I enjoy that. And that's why I enjoy the DP. And, Saturday night, I'm usually out. I get home at like 1 o'clock.
Do you usually enjoy the DP at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Oh, 100%. Love the DP at 1 a.m. Definitely after a couple beers, maybe some other drugs going on. That's always a good thing. But yeah, I enjoy Saturday night coming home from the bar, putting on the DP World Tour, and maybe sweating some picks. It's a good time for me, definitely. I would assume it would be late night this week in Kenya or in Africa, where it is, right?
Yeah. What is the capital? Is Nairobi the capital of Kenya?
I'm not sure. I'm going to have to ask my intern on that one.
Nairobi. Yeah, Nairobi is the capital of Kenya. So if we look up what's the time in Nairobi right now? Time is, well, it's currently 5 o'clock in the morning in Nairobi. So yeah, that means that tournament's gonna, I'm just trying to do the math. Is this gonna be, it's gonna be on like midnight and stuff. Like, it'll be finishing up around midnight. No, that wouldn't be right at all.
I think it would be like earlier in the morning. Like, it would finish around like 7, 8 about. I'm not really sure, honestly.
Yeah, it would finish up. Well, that's not bad. See, you're staying up from the bar.
Like when it was in Indonesia.
Yeah, those two places are not close to each other, by the way.
Yeah. No, I'm aware of that. But your pick to win is for the players.
Tom Kim,
and then everyone should bet Day, Cantley, Keegan to miscut at like 20-1.
It was 35-1. Is that what I said?
35-1.
Let's see. Yeah, $15 pays $5.60. So whatever that is.
Done. I think that is a good.
Yeah, 37-1.
Great. I love it. Everyone, go listen to Pat this week. I'm very much looking forward to the DK show. The show with Rob and Cam was excellent. Everything Mayo puts out on Mayo Media Network is excellent. Smash the like. As always, Pat, it was a pleasure to have you on tonight. I'm looking forward to some Thursday sweats on First Round Leader, and hopefully Colin wins for us and we can, bash on everyone that said he sucks now.
Yeah, I would like that. It would just be a nice fuck you to all those people.
The people and it's also nice to win a couple grand.
That is true.
Yeah.
Don't I mean, that's why you got to bet on this guy over in Kenya. Win not just a couple grand, win a couple tens of thousands of grand.
Love it. We gave out a lot of great picks tonight.
The best picks.
We will see everyone next week for the Valspar.